Welcome to Now It's Legal Podcast, where we talk to NCAA D1 athletes, we talk to entrepreneurs and people who took a chance on themselves. And today we have Spencer Hogan, took a chance on himself, SMU student currently, design team. Just super stoked to get you on this podcast.
Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you were here in Nerd Studs, Grapevine, Texas. You came down showing some love, but I want to start from the beginning, Spence. Where are you from?
Okay, so I'm originally from Southern California, Orange County area. Went to Santa Margarita Catholic High School.
Santa Margarita?
Yep.
Nice. Santa Margarita High School?
Mm-hmm.
And then are you been at SMU this whole time? Did you transfer?
Yep, so I've been at SMU for the last 3.5 years. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great time.
Yeah. You kind of been taking this world by storm in my eyes because I've been following you on Twitter, been following you on Instagram, just kind of following you wherever you kind of been so far. Mm-hmm. Who is on the roster? I'm trying to paint a picture for people. Who was on the roster? Just a few key people who were on the roster when you came to SMU for football.
Yeah, so when I first came in, we had Tanner Mordecai at quarterback, Rasheed Rice, all those guys. So.
Trey Siggers
Was there, yes.
Yep.
That's a good pull.
Yeah.
Trey Siggers.
Shout out Trey.
Yeah, I mean, and so we've kind of then transitioned. I mean, we were in the American Conference then. Then obviously, second year we win the American Conference. We got Preston Stone at quarterback. Kevin Jennings comes in for that championship game. And then, year 3, it's, hey, we're going to the ACC to get ready. So it's been a roller coaster so far.
So you kind of seen it, the program go from American to ACC. Mm-hmm. What's been the biggest difference?
Ooh, the biggest difference has been, by far, the national presence, just, people actually recognizing what SMU was. Like when I first came to SMU, everyone's like, oh, what does SMU stand for? Where is SMU? And then so when we came in, it was kind of like, okay, we're positioning ourselves as Dallas's team. So we get ourselves on the map as, okay, we're Dallas's team. We come in, my second year, wanted to make a statement. We go and we run the table in the American Conference. And then, halfway through our season, halfway through the beginning of our season, it was, hey, we're going to the Pac-12. We're going to the Pac-12.
Yeah, you guys just wanted to break out of a conference that you were in. You were like, anything but the American.
Yeah.
We need more eyes on the screen. We're even willing to take a cut on a budget for revenue.
Yep.
Eventually, they got pulled into the ACC.
Yeah.
And then you guys just started kind of running the tables there as well, taking it by storm, the underdog every single time.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of go back and kind of talk about how you've seen, the creative direction and social media presence that SMU has been able to obtain.
Yeah.
And what I said before the cameras were rolling, brother, you've created fans. Mm-hmm. You've created thousands of fans for SMU, and there's really no way SMU can thank you because if they don't know, if people don't know, then...
Yeah. So one of the big things, that we wanted to focus on, obviously, is getting our team back on the map. With the whole, the death penalty and all of that, our fans, I like to think we've almost skipped a generation. We had all this greatness back in the 80s, and then, after the death penalty happens in 89, I believe, we shut down, and we don't become a relevant program again till about... 2011, we were like an 0-11 team, and, didn't have any fans. And so we come in through the 2000s, 2010s, and we start, getting a little bit of momentum. 2019, we had a great year, but still not a strong fan base. And so once we start, transitioning, we start having success in the American, we start transitioning to the ACC, it's like, okay, we got to get fans back in the seats. So, obviously we go to the new conference, we start scheduling bigger teams. People say, oh, we got Florida State coming into town. I want to go watch that. And so we had, this past season, we had the largest increase in attendance out of any team in college football, over 1,000% increase in ticket sales.
Wow.
Which I believe the next biggest increase in ticket sales in the entire country was University of Texas that had a 200% increase.
Wow.
So we had beat every team in ticket sales, increased percent of ticket sales by 800%.
and with the new entry into the conference where you're quote unquote the guys that nobody knows, and quote unquote the guys that don't even deserve to be here. They shouldn't even be here. They're watering down our conference.
Yep.
Oh, and then they just get smacked by that team.
Yeah, no, because I mean we had obviously there was like the decision to vote us in, and I believe it came down to NC State was the one team that flipped to get us in. So
shout out NC State.
Shout out NC State. Go Wolfpack. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting because there was like obviously your Florida States and your Clemsons and, you know, the teams that were trying to get out of the ACC that were like, hey, we don't want this team in. They're going to water us down. And then, you know, Florida State comes to town and we take care of business.
Florida State's got to be one of the biggest high to low ratio I've ever seen in a long time in college sports.
That was a crazy turnaround. I mean, seeing them. I mean, I played high school football against DJU.
There you go.
And then, but like, I mean, we got destroyed by them when I was in high school, St. John Bosco, and then obviously I'd seen them at Clemson, at Florida State, at Oregon State, and then we're playing that team and beating them. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, it's just got to be kind of a full circle moment. How has the new locker room? You're having more celebrities show up to games. You're having more donations. SMU is one of the more wealthier teams in the ACC.
Yep.
I'm keeping that very PC. They're more of the wealthier teams in the ACC, and they've really been able to, you know, put their hands around NIL. But even more importantly, they've created a great culture around SMU.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, the money thing is definitely great. I mean,
it helps.
It definitely helps. We've been blessed by our donors with the amount of backing that they've given us, and they've kind of, you know, had this fire lit under them of, well, we got killed in the 80s for essentially doing NIL before it was NIL.
Now it's legal podcast.
And now it's legal. Yeah. And so essentially all of our donors basically said, oh, well, it's legal now, and went full 100% into it. So seeing that turn around, I mean, we have the new Gary Weber end zone complex, which has completely transformed our space.
Oh, so sick.
That's been super cool. And then, I mean, the culture that the coaching staff has created, Coach Lashley and company, has been, I mean, we've had the least amount of transfer outs out of any team in college football.
So I'm just trying to paint this picture. You have the least amount of people entering the portal on the roster.
Yes.
Okay.
Out of any team in all of, I believe, FBS.
Probably.
Plus, we've had our entire coaching staff this year has all stayed. So we've created, you know, a winning culture. We've been able to win 22 games in the last 2 years, which not a lot of teams have been able to do. I mean, that's in the ranks of Alabama and Georgia. I believe those are the only two teams that have had that amount of success. And we've been able to, you know, keep our coaching staff, keep our players here with all the transfer portal craziness of people going to one school to another. We've had a lot of people come in, and we've had very little leave.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of hire within. Hiring within, promoting within, that shows great health in a company.
Yeah.
And obviously SMU is not a company, but they sure to seem to be running it pretty well.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Rhett Lashley, and him just being so open to this new side of football and getting involved. I mean, I remember in spring camp of 2021, he talked about the NIL. He was like, hey, you need to look at the NIL. We need to look at financial literacy. You guys need to be aware of what's going on. Yes, there's an opportunity, but there's a goal here, and you need to keep your mind focused, but I'm not going to tell you to not do it. And that was kind of like the first time I was like, man, this is different. 2021, we're still in the American Conference.
Yeah.
And not a lot of NIL.
Yeah.
So have you seen kind of Rhett, you know, kind of move the needle in terms of NIL, but also in terms of like supporting the creative direction that SMU is?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Lashley's been very open, and I mean, he's given us a lot of creative freedom to do what we do. The one advantage with our brand, as opposed to like an Alabama or a Georgia, is that, you know, they've had this, you know, very stern, like, hey, this is who we are. We're very strict. We're Alabama. We're Ohio State. We're Georgia. And so Coach Lashley's let us be like, hey, we're kind of the underdogs. We're kind of sort of the, I wouldn't say the new guys on campus.
You're recreating it.
We're recreating our presence back on campus. And so we've had the opportunity to, you know, do a lot more with our brand, a lot more experimental stuff. I mean, we posted Minecraft videos in the middle of the season that ended up blowing up, whereas like you would never see like an Ohio State.
Oh, like you guys kind of memed
Yep.
your page a little bit,
Yep.
really kind of personalizing and
Yeah.
made it more relatable.
Yeah, and it was one of those things too. I mean, I didn't directly talk to Lashley about this, but I've heard it come up in meetings where he's like, I don't know what the hell this is, but if it works, it works. And so he's been, I mean, and we've gotten a bunch of new eyes on. Like I had parents after those Minecraft videos that we put out that messaged me and say, hey, like my kids are looking forward to the game this week because they saw the video you guys posted, and so. If I can play my part to recruit the next generation of SMU fans, I know I'm doing my job right.
Oh, I can say you're definitely doing your job right. I never went to SMU. I've only worked with them, a touch and go basis. But I turned my notifications on when they started turning stuff up. Mm-hmm. I also was to be honest, I was kind of let down with kind of where they were in 2020 or 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Because there was no noise coming from the creative side. Mm-hmm. And that for me, that's the heartbeat of a brand.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, now, sure. I mean, 20 years ago, you could say, it's the heartbeat on campus. But for right now, you got to capture eyes everywhere. But Minecraft video, before the cameras turned on, you said, I mean, I've always been kind of into, creating and designing mm-hmm. and being in that space. I used to make Minecraft videos with, I don't know if you want people to know that.
No, I'm completely open about that. Yeah. So, I mean, as any, kid in my generation, I mean, I played Minecraft growing up. I just went and saw the Minecraft movie 2 nights ago, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I got my start. Me and some of my buddies, when we were kids, we made an online game show through Minecraft, and that's kind of where I got my foot into the creative world. And I mean, we would have it was basically full on virtual sets where we'd have different contestants play in our like game shows, and we would have different voice actors and all of this, and it was like a full on production. I mean,
and you don't even realize it at that point that it's a production. You're just trying to
I mean, we're just having fun as kids, and I would try to explain to my parents that we're like, oh, my son is just sitting inside playing video games all day. But it was a lot more. And it's funny when I ended up working the college football national championship game, I told my mom, I was like, hey, like, I hope you don't think that all that Minecraft that I was doing as a kid didn't pay off, because look at where I am now.
What do your parents think?
Oh, they're super supportive.
Yeah?
Yeah, they love it. I mean, I come from a football family. My brother played football at UCLA.
Oh, hello. So How old is your brother?
He's 2 years ahead of me, so he's 20, almost 24.
Okay.
So yeah, he graduated 2 years ago. But yeah, I mean, they're super supportive of what I do. I mean, I played football growing up, and then so kind of transitioned to this creative role, and they've been there with me, and even like when they don't quite understand it, they're like my mom on Instagram. Every single Instagram story I post, she responds.
Wow.
Every single one.
Yikes.
Which is
no, that's love, Mom. I'm just saying, wow, that's a lot of notifications.
So,
you be posting a lot.
I do post a lot. It's funny too, because she'll like if we post something on the SMU pages, she'll know if I made it or if somebody else made it. Just
really?
Because she's, even if it like looks identical, she's like, oh yeah, my son made that.
That's got to feel pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of weird because I mean we have similar brand guidelines, so obviously we try to keep things looking the same, but
uniform.
But I mean that's the mother's instinct, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So how many people are on the SMU creative team?
Yeah, so we
is it a creative team? What's the technical? I'm using the wrong term here.
No, it's a creative team.
Okay.
Yeah. So we fluctuated over the years. When I first got in, we had 3 full-timers, and a whole army of students.
Interns.
Yeah, student interns. I was one of them. Still technically am one of them.
Love it.
And so we had a creative director, a director of social strategy, and a full-time video job. But then as we've sort of, navigated, we've had people come and leave. And so now we currently have a director of social strategy, Carter Stanton, and Emilio Terrazas, who's our assistant director of design. And then we have a few students that put in a lot of work, including myself and my buddy Bradley Catlett, who does all of our video stuff, absolutely crushes it. and as well as a few other student photographers and videographers.
Sure. Is there any moments where you just kind of find yourself being a kid and just, you love your job and you get to be with your friends? And
Oh, yeah.
Who are some of your favorite people to work with? I'm sure you love to work with everybody. Everybody has their own special talents, abilities. But if you're like, hey, I got to lock in and go shoot with this guy.
Yeah.
I want to go with that guy.
Yeah. Shout out my boy Bradley Catlett, Lil Bright, we call him. That's my dog. Yeah, he does all of our video stuff. He crushes it. I mean, he came in my sophomore year, so we had a bit of a, unique opportunity to bond there. Because we were both students and we're both pouring our heart and soul into, SMU football.
I can tell. I can tell. There's no program that's coming close. Like, I follow all the programs, design teams, and like Colorado, who brags about how much staff and money they spend.
Yeah.
I'm picking SMU. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's probably my closest buddy on staff, just because we've gotten to go in the mud together. We spend countless hours in the office. I mean, there's times where I'll show up to the office at 11 p.m. and all the lights are off and I see him in there blasting Playboy Cardi and I'm like, this guy.
He's locked in.
He's so locked in.
Love it.
Yeah, so he's been kind of my one consistent.
For sure.
And then Juniper Nelson, she's just graduating this year. I mean, we basically become like family. I've worked with her a ton. She's another one of our photographers. And so like I have Thanksgiving dinner with her family.
It's incredible.
Because I mean my family can't come out here because we have kids all over the place. But so I've gotten to kind of get a second family out here in Texas because of my coworkers.
Howdy. Welcome to Texas, brother.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah. That Southern hospitality kind of goes a long way, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, no, I loved it.
I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay.
And you just kind of tell me what's going on here. It seems like you have a really good relationship with the players because every video seems like they kind of have like a play in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it seems like because they get to see, I think they see you more than they probably get to see their parents. They're probably seeing the creative team more than they're seeing real family. So here we go. This is a B-reel. I'm going to pop it up on the screen.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. That's legendary.
Yeah. So that's me and Jack Mayo. Jack Mayo was he was an alumni of SMU. He's graduated, now works with us. And then that's Kevin Jennings and RJ Maryland. I think that was after the TCU game.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm pretty close with all the football guys. I actually intentionally, so like my freshman year, I came in, I was like, okay, I just want to get to, feel the space, find my role at SMU. My sophomore year, I really wanted to put an emphasis on getting to know the players. I purposely went out of my way to, eat lunch with them. I'd go sit at the tables and, talk with them.
That takes balls.
Yeah. And then so I would, try to get to know them because my thought process is, well, if they're comfortable with me as a person, they're going to be more comfortable in front of the camera. And so
love that.
The way that I've been able to, the fact that I get to work on staff with SMU as opposed to just being a game day photographer allows me to, get to know these players. And I mean, these players get to know me and they get to be more comfortable around my camera. Like I get to have shots that nobody else gets to take. I get to be in the locker room with the guys. I get to be at practice with these guys every day. I get to be, documenting all of their struggles and all their highs. And all the funny stuff that they do. And so, especially like Kevin will come up to me every day and just, make weird faces at the camera. And I mean, we'll just shoot stuff back and forth with each other. And I mean, he came up to me, he's like, my whole goal this spring ball is to clip farm.
You got to love it.
So
he's in the know.
Oh yeah, no, he's a complete goober. But I mean, they're, one of our, during Louisville, Kevin had like a breakout, like 60, 70 yard run. And I have this really cool photo of him with all the Louisville fans in the back, and he's running with the ball. And what they don't show on TV is that he runs up right to my camera and daps me up. Which, not a lot of photographers, get to be good buddies with the, starting quarterback of the football team. But, I also live with a football player. My roommate's a football player, Michael De Hoyos. He's one of our cornerbacks.
Yep.
And so even outside of work, I'm hanging out with these guys on the weekends, going and grabbing lunch with them. Me, my roommate Mike, and Isaac, our punter, our Australian punter, would go get salads on the weekends. And
sure.
Just being able to form these relationships with these guys has allowed me to take photos that, pretty much no other photographer that shoots SMU is going to be able to get because they don't have these relationships with the players.
So I think it's showing early in your career. How old are you?
I am 21.
21. So you've really early in your career finding out that relationships, may mean more than your talent and skill. And your talent and skill are to be commended for.
Yeah.
But I think for the viewer, I think they need to know that you could have all this talent, all this skill, but if nobody feels comfortable with you being around, or you don't have any interpersonal skills, or you don't communicate, then nothing like Spencer is going to happen to you.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
That's the big thing that I learned. I mean, one of the big reasons why I chose SMU as a school is my dad always loved to tell me, he's like, it's not about the grades you make, it's about the hands you shake. I'm
loving that. I'm loving that.
Yeah, I mean, like you can go to the best school in the country and get the best degree ever, but if you don't know anyone,
worthless.
I wouldn't say worthless, but
I'm sure if you go to MIT, you might have more opportunity than a guy that goes to Tarleton State University.
Yeah, but it's like a lot of people are going to hire people that A, they want to work with, or B, people they know. And so if you have a large network, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to take. And so one of the things too that I kind of saw was like, you can make the best art in the world, you can make the best book in the world, you can make the best graphics in the world, but if you're not showing it to anybody, then what value does it have? And so what I started doing, like with my own social media pages, is I was like, okay, I have this hard drive of all these photos that I've taken that we've like posted once, and then, people forget about it. I'm like, okay, how can I stretch this? How can I show this to more people?
Yep.
And so I started posting on my page, sharing my work, sharing stuff that I've already created, and, building a network.
Love it.
And so I kind of tie myself back to my work. And so people say, oh, this guy's made this. I want him to make something like that for me. And so I've been able to, grow my social network from that as well.
Definitely. And you got and you're honestly, I'd be remiss to say that you're learning from some really stellar talent. You said Jack Mayo, and my mind immediately goes to Jack Mayo films.
Yep.
Like that's, like straight up.
I love Jack.
And dude, he's legend. I don't even know Jack like that, but I want to know Jack like that because he makes some cool stuff.
Oh,
man.
yeah. I mean,
that Kevin Jennings new edit, did he do that?
Who was that? I think that was Bradley.
Dude, shout out Bradley, bro. I don't know you.
Shout out Lil Bright.
Yeah, dude, that was killer.
Yeah.
I had people swipe up, like, asking me. I said, brother, I just asked who did this edit, but can you talk about Jack Mayo? I just want to kind of a little blip of what it's like to work with him and learning from him. And you guys are probably like, you probably don't get to give him his flowers because you're too busy, give him a hard time.
Yeah. No, Jack Mayo's great. I mean, he's the connections wizard. I mean, everywhere I go, I'm like, oh yeah, I work at SMU. And they're like, oh, do you know Jack Mayo? It's like, yeah, everyone just seems to know Jack Mayo. But I mean, I love to say I'm on his subscription list of Twitter DMs. My entire Twitter DMs are flooded of Jack Mayo memes. But I mean, working with him he's like a wizard. You like start setting something up, and he's like, no, don't do that. It's like, okay, Jack, what should I do? And then he just takes over and does everything. But I mean, he knows everything, and if he doesn't know something, he knows a guy that knows something. So working with him,
he's got an answer.
Yes, he's always got an answer, and he's always got a guy for everything. And so I'm like, hey Jack, I need help with this. Like he's gonna come with a whole army.
Be careful what you ask for.
That's the thing about Jack too, is that if you want the simplest thing done, he'll take simple and take it to 1,000%. He's gonna do a whole production. And I was getting lunch with him a little bit ago at Roly Poly. He loves that place. They know him there. I walk in there, and it's like this wrap place on campus, or right next to
like
campus.
A sandwich wrap place?
Yes.
Okay.
Like they only sell like wraps. And we walk in, and all the staff there's like, oh, hey, Jack, you want the usual? I'm like, this guy.
This guy's legend.
Well, I'm talking to him too. He just got engaged a few months ago, and he was telling me like how he's trying to set up his wedding, and his fiance is like, Jack, we're not making the wedding a production. I'm like, only Jack Mayo would have pyrotechnics at his wedding. But
I mean, that's a pretty good thing to have.
Yeah, no, he's a great connection to have, a great person to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like just a really good guy and really putting out some great content. I'm gonna pull up another photo. I want you to just tell me about it.
Perfect.
Um,
Oh, that's me and Bryson.
yeah, DeChambeau,
Yeah,
the
no, that
golfer,
was-
the SMU
Yeah,
legend.
that was really cool. I was that was at the Florida State game, I believe. And so that was our first game in the ACC. So we had to show out, and obviously Bryson's an alum of SMU.
Yes, he is.
And so I was taking photos of him because he was coming out. We do a thing. Our marketing department's done a really good job of actually selling our game day experience, and so we every game have a celebrity guest come out in a Mustang car. And so I was taking some photos of him. And I was talking to Alex Gordon, our assistant AD of revenue.
Yep.
And I was talking to him. I was like, should I get a picture with Bryson? I was like, I don't want to be that guy, but I'll take a picture with Bryson. And he was really cool. I mean, I went to put my arm around him or whatever, and he just hands me the U.S. Open trophy. I was like, cool.
Oh, that's pretty legend.
Yeah, no, he's great with the students. I mean, big SMU supporter. I mean, when he won the U.S. Open, the first thing he did was shout at SMU. And I mean, not many schools in the country are able to have Bryson DeChambeau hop in their student section with the U.S. Open trophy and hang out with the students. And he a great guy to be with, great guy to shoot with.
Absolutely. Is there any celebrity that you want to see grace the field at SMU football?
Oh, I mean, we've had Eric Dickerson, obviously, which has been super cool. I'm trying to think of specifically tied to Dallas people.
Max Yao said Kardashian.
That would be cool.
Courtney went to SMU.
Yeah, she went to SMU.
Yeah.
I think
is it Courtney?
It was one of the Kardashians.
Yeah.
I don't remember which
Not
one.
Kim.
Mr. Beast would be
That would be
an
insane.
experience. Because I started watching Mr. Beast when I think he had under 10K subs when he was also doing Minecraft videos, and he was roasting YouTube channel intros back in the day. But I mean, I admire his his work ethic and the brains behind him. So having him, I know he ran out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game last season. So
Yep.
having Mr. Beast would be a long shot, but I mean that'd be super sick.
I definitely think Mr. Beast would seal the deal on some things. Let's talk about the way that you approach social media. You touched on it briefly. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper.
Okay.
You're not like many in the way that you are very open on how you do things. Mm-hmm. And you describe it, you break it down, which is why I kind of followed you. I kind of first saw you posting it on Twitter. I don't know if you started on Instagram first or whatever. But I saw you on Twitter and you were merely showing people this is how I broke it down. This is how it's done. This is the lighting. This is True Tone. This is all that stuff. What made you want to be different in that way? Break it down? What gave you that idea?
Yeah. So when I had all this work on my hard drive, and I touched on this briefly where, I had all of this stuff sitting. I was like, well, how can I make use of this? And so I was like, oh, I could, what if I try, showing people how to do it? Because I've had a lot of classes where people just ask me a bunch of questions because I have a lot of knowledge in, Photoshop, Illustrator, and Lightroom and all of that. And so I was like, okay, there's people that come to ask me questions. I'm sure there's people online that also would like to see this. And so I started, it started with, here's my graphic and here are all the layers I used. I was like, okay, what if I did that with photos? And I realized that there's a lot more photographers than graphic designers. So, started making content on breaking down my photos and breaking down my game posters. And I like to think, I mean, there's three types of content that I believe do well. You can either educate, you can entertain, or you can motivate. And so I try to do my fair balance of the three. It's like, okay, I educate people on how to, make these graphics. I motivate them by making it simpler for people to the barrier to entry easier. I try to respond to all my DMs too of people asking questions and being like, hey, good work. This is how you can make it better. But, and to entertain, I mean, that was the third thing that I was like, how do I make this entertaining? Because it's like, okay, people just like to, they're just learning.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that the content itself was actually entertaining until I was at practice, and Preston Stone, who was our starting quarterback at the time, he comes up to me and he's like, dude, I saw your Twitter video the other day. Like, I have no idea what any of this is, but it's cool to watch. And I was like, cool.
Yeah. Preston Stone is such a good guy.
Oh, love that guy.
What a class act, too.
Class act. I mean, he's doing great at Northwestern from what I've seen.
I mean, to go from SMU to Northwestern, I mean, you're just leveling up your degree.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still playing D1.
Yeah. No, he's going to do great there. I have full confidence he's going to do great things.
I think he's going to kill it.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be like a sleeper. Yeah, for sure. Because, and you got to see that transition from Preston Stone to Kevin Jennings. Mm-hmm. What's one of your more favorite things? What's it called? What's one of your favorite moments during the season, during this ACC run?
Ooh. Oh, gosh, I have a lot of favorites. I mean, I think the pinnacle of like the roller coaster of a season we had was the Duke game. We're in Durham, and, we're not playing our best ball. I mean, I think we had 7 turnovers, which is unheard of, let alone to come out of that game on top. And so we were, having a roller coaster of a game. We got to the 1-yard line and got stuffed. And so things weren't going our way.
Sure.
And so Duke had the upper hand on us, and they are lining up for game-winning field goal. And I'm like, oh, well, here we go. We're gonna lose the game. It's a tie game, and they have I forget what the yardage of the field goal was, but their kicker lines up, and they're about to snap the ball. We ice them. I was like, okay. And I was like, do I even need to shoot this shot? I was like, okay, you know what? In the rare case that we block a field goal, I'll take a photo of it.
Oh, dude, I already know where you're going.
And so they line up again, kick the field goal. I set my focus on Jonathan McGill because he was the only head I could see popping up. Excuse me. And I just say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to hold down the shutter, see what happens. I push down the shutter, and, kick goes up. And I'm like, wait, where did the ball go? Because usually, the kick goes up and you see, oh, it's good. And I'm like, where's the ball? And I couldn't see the ball. And then I see it like spearing off to the left. I was like, oh my goodness. And I check my camera and I just see Jafari Harvey just Superman. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I show that we have all these walkie-talkies, and I get on the walkies. I said, Carter, I've got the shot of my life on this SD card. And so I run it. I was celebrating too. I mean, because this is my team. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm celebrating. And so I get the photo, and now I have it now hanging above my couch back in my apartment.
Yeah, you do.
Jafari blocking the field goal against Duke. So, I mean, that was one of my favorite shots that I've taken. And I think it kind of, shows the resilience of our team of, yeah, we're going to get beat down, but we're not going to give up. And so I think that's kind of, that was probably one of my favorite shots I've ever taken, kind of, sums up our season.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You were talking about, before the camera got rolling, you're like, I want to save this for the pod. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about a time with Kevin Jennings, or am I completely wrong here?
I'm trying to think of what you were talking about.
I know we talked about a lot, and I shut down a lot of stuff. I was like, wait till the camera comes on.
Camera's rolling.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm gonna scroll through your Instagram. Okay. Stalking you.
Ooh.
Yes. So all of the things that you post on your Instagram, you've created.
Correct. Yep.
So from beginning to end, I really want to push people to your page to really look at something like that.
Yep.
And then looking at the video and how it's created.
Yeah.
You told me that it was under a 24-hour timeline, and how do you get yourself to create something like this? Because this is thin air.
Yeah.
That's thin air, brother.
Yeah.
You got a whole lot of nothing to work with, and you're piecing everything together. You're sourcing all of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially with those game posters, those were all pretty much, I mean, we'd post them on a Wednesday. I'd only have time to do them on a Tuesday. And so I would sit down. It's like every week I was like, okay, how can I one up the last one? Because it was like every week we're putting one out, and they all have to be, super complex edits, super, unique ideas. And so a lot of what I would do was just give myself constraints almost. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to give myself X amount of time to do this. And so what I found too with like creativity is sometimes, having that deadline actually makes you, it lights a fire under your ass and actually gets you to make a better product when you have less time to do something, because you don't have time to wait around.
And you're in the moment. I think when like as creatives, like it's editing, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's not like painting where you like go and come back and I've been working on this for like a whole year.
Yeah.
Editing like this with the here and now and trying to be relevant.
Yeah.
It is so hard.
Yeah, there's times where you don't have time to get a second look on it. You just have to say go, 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 and trust that it's the best product that you're ever gonna make. And I'm the type of person too where I am such a like critic of my own work, where I'll sit there like tweaking the kerning between letters for hours, making sure it's perfect. But I kind of I've had to teach myself to have the mindset that 90% done is done, right? You can sit there. I can sit there on any one of my game posters or any one of my graphics and tweak things for hours and hours and hours. But you've got to, learn to be like, okay, enough is enough. The only person that's going to notice that is me. But yeah, those game posters too, the big thing with those because people ask like, oh, like, how do you get these ideas? And as much as I'd love to say like ideas come out of thin air, like, I get inspiration from stuff. And it's all different places. I have Pinterest boards upon Pinterest boards of different, graphics of people that I admire and I respect. And I'll be like, okay, what do I like about this graphic? And I'll take that element and apply it to mine. And it's like, oh, but this one, I like the letters on this one. And I like the composition of this one. Or even like, for example, the Pony Express poster that I did.
Oh, bro.
That one was like it was a big crowd favorite. But my inspiration for that was like one of the SMU Twitter burners posted some like super crappy like Pony Express like train meme, and I was like, what if I made that into a graphic? And so I had to like stitch together all of these different 3D elements of a train, and obviously make it an SMU train and not a black Polar Express train.
I think if people, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think if people were to go on your page and then like zoom in, they would see how meticulous you are.
Oh yeah, like
You're so
many hidden details. Like what I try to do too with a lot of my graphics is, especially those game posters, was put like Easter eggs in them. Like if you go into the TCU game poster, we have a guy with the iron skillet holding up the skillet, and he's on like a bunch of rubble. And within the rubble, there's like a poster that says "Missing Hypno Frog," which was like TCU's mascot. Or there's a tombstone that says "R.I.P. Cool Uniforms," because they had their super cool like uniforms with the horn collar. Yep, and they got rid of them that year, and I was like, I'm gonna roast them. And so, like, if you zoom in, like, there's a bunch of cool hidden details. Obviously the Polar Express one has the train that's all SMU themed.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah, so there's a lot of detail, and I like to put things in my graphics that most people won't see. I remember 2 years ago too, we were playing in the New Mexico Bowl against BYU, and so I put in the background, like very faint in the background, there was a Walter White like van. I haven't even seen Breaking Bad, I'm gonna say that here, but I was like, I know it's filmed in New Mexico, so I'm gonna put this in here. And it actually helped our engagement too, because people in the comments are like, is that a Walter White van? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's all about the research you do. You don't, I don't really like love any TV shows or anything like that. I think my time is better spent elsewhere. Yep. But, I've watched numerous amounts of The Office that I can't take back. So, I want to do just like a quick 5-minute break. Okay. We'll come back. I got to get I got to re-up on my Rambler.
Re-up on my Rambler. This is number 3 for me.
Free. All right, brother. We'll stop here and then we'll pick it back up.
Nope.
Cool. So, Spence, do people call you Spence?
Some people do.
I'll call you Spencer. It seems like you like that a lot better. But I want to talk, obviously, about the going into the ACC. We've talked about that. I want to talk about that run.
Yep.
Let's talk about Penn State, because I do think it's a little weird that they shipped you guys off to like the most cold, freezing environment. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like, hey, welcome to the ACC.
Yeah, so that was an interesting game. A super cool experience. One of my bucket list games to shoot was, Penn State whiteout. And of course, they gave it to us in, the biggest stakes possible. And we're the small underdog team, and of course they give us the largest crowd in college football playoff history.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's one heck of an introduction.
Yeah.
Do you think they knew what they were doing? Or it just so happened to be that way?
I think it just so happened to be that way. I mean, there were a lot of people that doubted us. A lot of people that were like, "Oh, SMU is going to be this and
Even
that."
before the season started.
No, before the season, I mean, people were like, "Oh yeah, they'll be middle of the conference." It's funny. There was this Twitter burner the other day that we found a tweet of him when we announced we were going to the ACC, and he said, or it was when we announced our schedule, and he said, "Bookmark this tweet for now. SMU is going to upset Florida State when they go to town and turn the table and go to the ACC championship game." And all the comments were just people like laughing and mocking him. And then we actually went on our main account and retweeted it.
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
Is there a type of clearance that you have to like go through to be like, hey, can we go ahead and retweet this real quick?
Yes and no. I mean, we've had times where we've, gone a little too far. We've had posts that we've...
That's anything though.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times where we've posted something and, Coach Lashley and staff are like, yeah, can we take that down? But anyways, back to, let's talk about postseason. So Penn State, you hear a lot about how like Penn State's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We're flying into this super small airport at State College, and we land. And I'm like, damn, we're in the middle of the forest. And so I'm like, I'm under the mindset, it's like, okay, we're gonna land in the middle of nowhere and take like a 45-minute drive to like a city, not like a city, but like a town. And so we're driving through the woods.
Wait, you guys are driving there?
Well, we flew there, and then we drove from the airport
okay.
to our hotel. And so we're in the buses after we had landed, and like the sun's just gone down, so it's like dark, and there's just snow and trees. And then all of a sudden, after like 5 minutes, you look up in the middle of the wilderness, and there's just Beaver Stadium right there. And I'm like, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing here.
How do you think that fan base feels like when people come to town and
that's why they're so good. It's so they're by far the most isolated team, at least in the Big Ten. I mean, probably amongst all the Power 5 football teams. Like they're in the middle of nowhere. But that's their thing, is that they got 110,000 people that are going to fill up that stadium every week, and it's only them because nobody else wants to go there. And so like we show up there, there's no hotels in the city, so we're in this like, kind of like run down like motel thing. And it's one of those motels too where like all the rooms are like facing outside. And so they're like, yeah, be careful. The Penn State fans are going to knock on your door at 4 a.m. I was like, go. What? Like they use it to their advantage. Oh yeah. And so that environment was crazy. I mean, you walk into that stadium Is it
loud?
It's loud. Yeah.
Do they show up early?
Yeah. So we try to show up 4 to 5 hours early. And so we're getting to the stadium.
You guys, the photographers show up 4 to 5 hours early?
Yep.
Wow. So what time do players show up? I don't mean to...
Players arrive. I mean, it depends. I want to say...
What's who's like the first person you see? Or the first... Like, how does your day go? Like, Penn State game, whiteout game.
Yep.
You're waking up at what time?
Well, I believe it was a noon kickoff. So we were probably up by 5, 6-ish.
Okay.
But we're not the first people there. Equipment staff is already there setting up. Shout out Frank and the equipment staff.
Do they make it happen?
Oh yeah. Oh, they are ninjas.
So fast they just set it up so quickly, or
yes. Yeah, they set it up. I mean, and they do a great job of, making sure everyone's got gear, making sure everyone's got hand warmers, especially for that game. But yeah, I mean,
it was chilly that game.
It was cold. We show up and because you hear all about Beaver Stadium being like, oh, it's the loudest place ever. But you never realize that it's like, it's a dumpster. It is literally a shell it is a giant metal shell, and it's a dumpster. And it's like the field is literally bowed. Like the top of the field compared to like the sidelines is at least like a 6 to 8 inch difference. Like the whole field bows. I've heard it's for draining issues.
I'm sure.
But like I've played on Little League fields that are better than that field. And so all the grass was dead. They're like blowing snow off of the field.
What the
And
heck?
so, and well, that stadium's been there for so long. The media room that we were working out of,
I'm Googling when did Penn State open the stadium? Keep going.
I think it's over 100 years old. But the media room that we're in literally says black room, where they used to develop photos in the dark room, and like you would have to like manually develop the film. And so it's like it is like that old, and it's like a shell, and the wind blows through there too. Like, oh my gosh, it was miserable. And so I'm like looking around. I'm like, okay, like because we've played in big stadiums. I mean, we played Temple and Lincoln Financial Stadium where the Eagles play.
Right. How is it to play in different pro stadiums and trying to recreate that very intimate college environment that pros cannot seem to deliver on the football side of things? That's why I love college football.
When we played at Temple had like 0 fans, and there was a Phillies playoff game the same night, so there was nobody there.
1960 is when Beaver Stadium opened.
Yeah, that's wild.
Okay.
But for that Penn State game, all before practice, we blasted Mo Bamba all across campus. Like I'd be walking to class and you could hear on the complete other side of campus, the football field with Mo Bamba playing.
Are we talking about the main area, the main football field, or the practice?
Our practice field.
Okay.
Yep. So our practice field.
That's way more open.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's flash forward to kickoff. That
Kickoff at Penn State
yes.
and the college football playoff.
Yes.
All right.
That was crazy. At first I was like, it's like kind of loud. And then I will never forget this moment. This is we had a good first drive. I mean, we stopped them on a 3-and-out, get the ball back. We're driving. And then, fourth down, we had touchdown. A little bit of a bad ball thrown. Matt Hibner couldn't hold on to it, but I was like, oh, like we got our momentum. But then, once their student section came in, I'm sitting in the end zone, 110,000 people behind me saying how much they hate me. And it's third down. We're in the red zone, and Kevin's trying to snap the ball, and he can't hear anything. And there's now this meme, if you look online, it's like Kevin with his hands on his ears. And this was the first time that I'm like physically shaking because of the amount of noise and how damn cold it was. It was mostly like we've had games where, it's been cold. Like it's been, raining and cold. It's been snowing and cold.
Sure.
I'm sitting not on grass. I'm sitting on ice. The grass is not, it's not grass anymore. It's ice. I'm sitting on ice. The wind is going through. It is freezing. I'm in 5 layers, and I got 110,000 people behind me telling me how much they hate me.
Wow. So can you please dive a little bit deeper into Kevin Jennings not being able to hear, and he's like on his, are you able to kind of like be like, Kev, what happened here? Or obviously it's a very emotional game, so you can't be like, hey, Kev, what's up with that? But obviously, what's going on here? What did you see unfold? I mean,
it's one of those things. Obviously, I'm not going to come up to him in the middle of the game and be like, why did we do that?
Let's not. It might be your last day.
Just like, for me too, it's because obviously our center can't see the quarterback. And so I see, Jakai's got the ball, he's trying to snap it, and then I just see Kevin clapping, but he can't hear it.
Oh, wow.
Because of the noise. And it was like...
So did they switch game plan and being like, okay, we're not clapping anymore, or you just need to listen? How'd that... I don't even know, man. I
don't know how the game plan went. I mean, obviously, it's like one of those things where you can prepare all you want. You can blast it however loud you want to, but it's not going to compare to the real game. And so, that's why all respect to the Penn State fans. And then that was the thing, too, about the Penn State fans. They were loud, but they weren't that mean.
As in?
Like...
You said they hated you. Obviously they had distaste because you had a SMU on.
Yeah. Well, so we played Nevada first game of the season.
Right.
That was like when the whole Hawk Tua thing was going on, and they were spitting on me. They were literally spitting on me as a photographer. I had to put my hood on because I was being spat on.
That's disgusting.
When we were in Virginia, this was the most annoying one.
University of Virginia.
So usually,
Cavaliers.
if people are going to throw food at you, they're just going to throw a whole bunch of food at you at once and then just, get kicked out. The Virginia fans were smart. They would every 5 to 7 minutes just throw one singular French fry and they just hit me. And I wouldn't know where it came from. Hey, dog. I just wouldn't know where it came from. And so, like, there was the Virginia police officers there. I was like, hey, like, this guy's like I'm getting food thrown at me. They're like, do you know from where? I was like, no. And like, just when I would like forget that like food was being thrown at me, I'd just get a little French fry thrown at me. I was like, you motherfuckers.
He's like, I can't do anything about it.
Yes.
There's not a time where you like turn around and say, hey, stop that. Or you just pretty much focus on your
there's
craft.
times where like I'll like turn around and be like, oh, yeah, haha, funny, whatever.
But you're never taunting them.
No.
That doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, be the bigger person.
You got to be bigger. There you go.
Be the bigger person. It's like, I've had people talk, and they're like talking to me, and I'm like, well, I'm down here, you're up there. Like,
yeah. We are not the same.
pipe down, little bro.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, Beans joined the podcast. Seems like she's enjoying you, Spence. So,
Chill, dog.
Wow. So Penn is freezing. It's cold.
Yeah.
We obviously. What's the locker room like whenever you're trying to film? You know, this insane record that y'all were able to do.
Yeah. I mean, our coaches are very nice, and they're very generous. They give us a lot of access that a lot of other coaches don't. Like, I remember there was a time we mic'd up players like during practice, and one of the mics like fell off of one of the guys. And most coaches will, if the mic fell right in front of Coach Lashley, and so we're like, oh no, we're screwed, because there's a lot of like old school coaches that are like, what the hell is this? Why is this interrupting my practice? Yeah. And Coach Lashley finds the mic on the field, picks it up, and he's like, this is my mic'd up segment now. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
You got to love that.
Yeah, but
because he could make your job harder.
Oh, 100%.
And you would be like, I get that.
And like, they're like, our coaches are very, I mean, I'm on first name basis with the majority of our coaching staff. So like, if they see me, like, they'll be like doing a pregame huddle. And they'll let me like squeeze in there to get the shot, or there'll be like a lot of our different position groups will do like different pregame rituals, and our coaches will allow us to get in there and take photos.
Sure.
There have been times where it's it's like halftime at a game.
All good. It's pretty close.
It's halftime at a game, and they've been like, hey, like move back a little bit, but they're never like yelling at us. They're never they have. I mean, respect is a two-way street. I mean, I have respect for them. They have respect for us. And so they've been very generous with, the amount of access that they give us to, tell our team's story.
Yeah. You guys kind of had a fairy tale story, and then like you were given the platform to tell that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a point in the season where you felt like there was a severe amount of momentum, or there was like a switch of, man, this team's a little different, and I'm glad I decided SMU.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the Florida State game was big. But I mean, the thing about the Florida State team is like they have all this history, but they were just having a bit of an off year. So, we played them and we're like, okay, this is cool.
It's to see it lightly.
But, and it was like, how can we carry out this momentum? And so we had a 3-game stretch of all road games where, we obviously dominated those games too. But then when we came back, it was our homecoming game against Pitt. Pitt was, I think they were number 18.
No, man, Pitt was rolling when they met y'all.
Oh, and they were rolling. And so, it was the two ranked teams, matchup, sellout crowd. And, a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, Pitt's going to, humble SMU, show them who they were, yada, yada, yada. And Pitt comes to town and we destroy them. And that's when I was like, oh, damn, this is real. And so we wiped the floor.
That's when you felt like it was real in the season? When you defeated Pitt, you were like, "Oh damn!"
Yes, that was when I was like, "This team's legit." Because we've had our competition. Florida State was tough. TCU was a great team. That TCU
man,
game.
Can we talk about TCU?
We can talk about TCU.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure you weren't there for when the previous coach was there.
No, so I came in right after the Dykes staff had left. So for context, Sonny Dykes was the coach at SMU.
And then got recruited by the teams 30 minutes down the road.
Went to TCU. TCU's like our big rival. They're like
TCU, Big 12. Yeah. I think anybody would take that opportunity because you can't tell the future.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they had their success. I mean, the year after Sonny Dykes leaves, he takes them to the national championship game.
Yeah.
So
not too shabby.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah.
But obviously, so we had like a little bit of this, their little brother, yada yada yada. And so, they roll to town and we're like, okay, this is personal. Like this is Sonny Dykes' return to SMU. He hadn't played there. He hadn't been there since
skillet.
The iron skillet. And so, Dykes runs to town and we put the hammer down on TCU.
Brother. That was
a fun game. The highlight of the loudest I've ever heard Gerald J. Ford Stadium is when Sonny Dykes gets ejected from the game right after halftime. First time a coach has been ejected from a game, I believe, since in the college football playoff era.
Yeah.
So
modern era.
Modern era. Like first time coach has ever been ejected from a game, and just watching him get escorted out of the stadium and everyone's going crazy. I was like,
were you able to grab any moments of that?
So unfortunately, I got like one or two photos from it, but I was on the like complete other side of the field.
Sure.
I wasn't lined up for a good shot. I know a few of our other photographers did. I think there's like a legendary shot. I'd have to find it. It's Dykes getting kicked out, and you can just see all the fans in the stadium going crazy. And that was like the biggest, like, we're here to play. Like, I don't care if you're, Big 12 this, national championship that. Like, we're here to compete.
Yeah.
And we're not only gonna beat you, like we are going to run up the score because that's the thing about us too, is like to show that we are contenders, like we really had to run up the score on teams.
Yeah. I know y'all were running it up. That was crazy.
So the year before too, I mean, we're like when we were in the American Conference,
it was a steamrolling competition.
We beat Temple 55-0. We beat Tulsa 69-10. Fun fact about SMU: SMU was the only team to have 2 69-point games in a season. We beat Prairie View A&M 69-0. Beat Tulsa 69-10. I mean, we steamrolled teams, and then even going into, we've always been an offensive heavy team. I mean, we played Houston 2 years ago.
What does the locker room feel like when, like, the year prior, you were not putting up 69 points? You're praying to merely, like, beat this team, maybe. You know what I mean? Because I remember it wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I wasn't super stoked to see you guys play UTEP. Love UTEP. But not like that doesn't get me going. That doesn't make me wake up in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, so I remember the biggest, the kind of precursor to all of that was when, this was the year before we went to the ACC. We're playing Oklahoma.
Sure.
And we're walking into Norman Stadium, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, SMU is just Oklahoma's paying them to be here."
That was.
And so, we didn't come out on top on that game, but we made it was less than a touchdown game in the fourth quarter. Like we made a good showing of, and it was one of those things too where it wasn't. We weren't quite ready then, but I remember Rhett's post-game speech was saying, "Hey, we showed that we can compete with these guys." Oklahoma was a top 10 team in the country.
Oh no, you guys scheduled one of the hardest games.
And so at that point, we hadn't been announced to the ACC yet, but we had shown, hey, we are here to compete with these guys.
Yeah, we're going to keep scheduling these games.
We're going to keep scheduling these games, and fast forward a year later, we're hosting Florida State and we're beating them. We're hosting Pitt and we're beating them.
Pitt, let's just make a point here. Pitt lost the rest of their games of the season. Y'all gave them like a concussion or something. Shook Pitt to their core.
Oh yeah, well it was funny too because when they were doing the college football playoff selections, everyone had asked Coach Lashley. They're like, hey, we see that you guys don't have a lot of ranked wins, and Coach Lashley's, well, yeah, they're not ranked because we beat them. We walk into Louisville when they're ranked, beat them. We have Pitt play us, we beat them. Duke, when we played them, should have been a ranked team. Arguably, I think they should have been ranked at the end of the season too. And they were a great football team. We beat them in their own home stadium as well. Even Clemson, we lost that game, but we lost that game on a 55-yard field goal, longest field goal to win a conference championship game ever. And just a year before, everyone, at the beginning of the last season was thinking we're just an American Conference team, Dallas, Texas, that doesn't really mean much. So, being able to, grow with this team, it's just been from where we started when I first got here to now is just night and day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you guys are just leaps and bounds, just producing some of the best storytelling capabilities that you can. Is there anything that you're looking forward to in 2025, 26 season?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like you just ended, but you're ramping right back up.
Yeah. I mean, this is my senior year. I mean, I had the thought in the back of my head. I'm like, this is my last year with SMU. How am I going to go out on top? So I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to this season. We've got a lot of good things coming up, and I mean, we've already started getting together and been brainstorming a lot of good content for this next season. So I'm definitely excited to see where my story ends up at SMU and how my chapter here kind of closes up. But I mean, definitely too looking forward to the next steps, after SMU.
No, absolutely. I think what you're really learning young into your career is like connections are everything.
Mm-hmm.
But why? So I kind of want to transition here.
Okay.
Why would you want to pick Now It's Legal podcast and NIL, and like why would you pick my podcast to come on? Even though you could be on any podcast, you could reach out to a podcast creator and they'd probably get you on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just kind of tell.
Yeah, I mean, Now It's Legal. I mean, that's the whole story of SMU's football program in the last 3-4 years. I mean, as we mentioned earlier, SMU back in the 80s got busted for doing NIL at the time. And now it's legal. And now we're here. And I've kind of gotten to tell our story of, hey, like, we're here because of NIL. I mean, our whole that whole shoot we were talking about, with the Jack Mayo shoot with the Trans Am and the downtown
Eric
Dallas.
Dickerson. And
our whole thing for that was the Pony Express is back. The Pony Express being, our team in the 80s that, had all this NIL stuff. And so that shoot being like the first week that I've started at SMU to now.
That was your first week?
That was my first week on campus at SMU.
You shot Eric, that you were there for the Eric Dickerson.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That might have been the first time I probably followed you or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, so that was when I first started and I was like, oh, this is my wake up call. This is big boy territory. And so yeah, our whole thing is like the Pony Express is back. And then we took that, and then then it was and even then too, like there was no talks about the ACC or any of that.
Mm-mm.
But we kind of made that happen. And I feel like a lot of our
chirping on the social media.
Yeah, I mean, and doing stuff like that was putting all these brand new eyes on our program that hadn't been done before, and we showed, hey, we can play on the field like we are a D1 or a Group of 5 team or a Power 5 team. We can market ourselves as a Power 5 team. We can fill our stadium like a Power 5 team. We can tell a story like a Power 5 team. And so that was kind of the beginning of it. And so, the whole Now It's Legal, SMU wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for the NIL scape and our donor base.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's done leaps and bounds for your program, and entering the ACC just makes it a little bit that much more sweeter.
Yep.
You've really been able to kind of hone in on a craft and working with Eric Dickerson on your first shoot, which is like literally crazy.
Yeah.
When a recruit or someone who wants to be like Spencer Hogan, or they want to go to SMU to play sports, they want to go to pursue a degree. Mm-hmm. First of all, it's not easy to get into SMU, I would say. It's a little bit more difficult.
Yep.
But if you could, tell somebody, this is your reason to pick SMU. This is why I go here. What would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about how I kind of made my decision to go to SMU. Because I started doing taking photos and graphics my senior year of high school, and so
that's when you had your first camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I started then. I can go all the way back.
Yeah.
So,
do it.
I started back in high school. I played football. Football and track were my two sports. I was probably a bit better at track than I was football. And so my senior year, I got hurt. I was out for the whole season, and so it was either rest up for track season or kind of play on like half a foot for the football season. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rest up for track season. I was a pole vaulter.
Oh damn.
And so I show up my senior year, first football game of the season. I'm on the sidelines, and I'm like, well, this sucks. I want to do something. And I had a camera laying around, and so the school actually let me use a camera too. And so I was able to go out and, shoot my first game. And I shot it from the stands because
Your first game that you shot it from the bleachers?
Yes.
Lovely.
I shot it from the bleachers.
Talk about passion.
Yeah. And so I was sitting in the bleachers, and, it's one of those things where people are like, what the hell are you doing with your camera? And I was like, just trust the process. And so I have all these photos, and I was friends with the whole coaching staff. I was friends with all the players. And so I send them these photos, and they're like, oh my gosh, we want these photos for our next game. And so the coaching staff invites me down on the field for the next game. And so, I took photos at that game, and then the next game. And then, that turned into the rest of the season. And then, after the season, the basketball team was like, hey, can you take photos for us? The soccer team, the lacrosse team. And so
see where this is going.
it kind of all started snowballing. And then so I had this whole portfolio of work where, I built up this portfolio of work that I could now, pitch to people. And so I didn't think that I could actually like do this as like a living until people were like, hey, we'll pay you to come shoot this. I was like, you're gonna give me money? Like, I'm just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
And so I built up this whole portfolio of work, and I knew it was something that I wanted to do in college. And so I sent my book out to, a bunch of the schools that I had gotten accepted into. And SMU was like, hey, we'd love to, have you work here, work with our football team. So I was like, boom, SMU it is.
Yeah.
Looking at it too, Dallas is, one of the top rising sports markets in the country. SMU's alumni network is phenomenal. I've had people reach out to me from, the NFL that are SMU alums. And
I saw that picture of Dak Prescott on your thing. So
yeah.
What's up with that?
My buddy Jeremiah, shout out Jeremiah. He used to work for the Dallas Cowboys. He's now Dak Prescott's personal photographer. And so he kind of invites me.
Slight flex.
Yeah, slight flex. He invited me to come shoot. Dak was on campus, working out. And
chilling.
He was just chilling, yeah. And so he invited me to do that. That was cool. But just a part of that, like the whole networking thing, I wouldn't have met Jeremiah if it weren't for SMU. He started, freelancing some of our games and shooting some of our games. And so I've kind of gotten to learn from him a lot about that. And, he's opened a lot of doors for me. And even too, when I was working at the college football playoff, I'll never forget. It was like a full staff meeting, and we were going around from like all the senior execs to like the interns. And there was probably about like 30, 40 people in the room. And I'd say like about like 6 or 7 of them were like, I'm so-and-so, I went to SMU. I was like, everyone went to SMU. Like, we were a small school. We have 7,000 people undergrad, but like all of these people are SMU alums.
Somehow.
Exactly. And so it's like I've had I had the chief marketing officer from an NFL team reach out to me saying, hey, like, I love your work that you've been doing with SMU. Like, I'm an SMU alum, would love to chat with you.
Wow.
Or just meeting these people at the college football playoff that are, like senior execs that are, I went to SMU. And the thing about the SMU network is, obviously, there's a lot of other bigger schools, and you got your Texas, your A&Ms that have super large networks. But the thing about the SMU network that is so much more advantageous is that it's a super small knit group, but it's all a super elite group.
It's dense with premium.
Exactly. And so when you see an SMU next to your name, it's a lot more uncommon.
Yeah.
So you'll stick out a lot more. And so, I haven't even graduated yet, and you had these people, reaching out saying, oh, you go to SMU. I love the work you're doing.
Yeah. No. It is like a certification. It's like such a degree. And some people who don't know SMU and like, you could argue different schools better, whatever.
Yeah.
But like from what I've seen, and I've only seen what I've seen, it seems redundant, but I only know what I know.
Yeah.
But it seems like SMU really, really great. Did an internship. Did an internship with SMU alumni. And I'm super grateful. Still work with them till this day.
Yeah.
It was a real estate.
Yep.
It wasn't creative. You know what I mean? It was just real estate, learning capital markets, and I'm just so blessed to know that person.
Yeah.
Because that person's introduced me to other people and connected me in ways where I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So, I've had like a little taste of what if I was an SMU student, what it would be like, because just some simple one-off experiences. But you were a part of the SMU squad when Rashee Rice was on the team.
Baby.
Yeah, and Tanner Mordecai, and they were killing it. You saw his draft process. Not even talking about Rashee, I just wanted to kind of point that out. But what is something that you've taken away from the players that you have applied to your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been really cool to see work alongside these players, and obviously I get to work with them before they're in the NFL or before they're a big name.
Yeah,
like I was doing photos with Rashee Rice. Like, yeah, he was a good receiver at SMU, but he wasn't number one receiver for the Chiefs.
Right.
He wasn't hanging out with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So I mean, that's been really cool to work with him, and I mean, even a lot of our other guys like Elijah Chapman. Now he's on the New York Giants, killing it there, undrafted free agent. Grant Calcaterra too. I never actually overlapped with Grant, but Grant went to my high school, and then eventually went to SMU, and so we kind of got connected there. We actually first got connected at the when we played Temple, because he's at the Philadelphia Eagles, and so he was there watching our game, and I was like, "Hey, Grant, nice to meet you."
Yeah, good to see you.
And so, I mean, that's another LinkedIn connection I got there.
Yeah,
I have a weird I love some of my buddies that are playing in the NFL, just getting those LinkedIn connections I find really funny.
Yeah, no, for sure. No,
but I mean, just learning a lot from them. I mean, they have a crazy work ethic, and they're grinding for hours and hours on the gym, the field, getting to the NFL. And obviously, I'm not going to compare myself to say I'm an NFL athlete, but
your schedule resembles it somewhat
to a degree. And there's so many times where all the late nights that I stay up, editing a graphic, editing photos, doing all that work that nobody sees. It's like, I mean, I've gotten the opportunity to actually see that work from them and, take that and be like, okay, they're working this hard to achieve their dreams. How can I work that hard to achieve my dreams? And obviously, it's different. I'm not destroying my body every day, but I'm destroying my brain and my eyeballs by staring at a screen all day. And what sets those players and those athletes apart too is not only the physical side of it, but they're always learning, they're always curious, they're always trying to level up their game mentally. And so that's another thing that I try to do to separate myself is I'm always learning, I'm always taking inspiration from other other artists. What I like to try to do is I'll find artists that I like and see who they were inspired by and kind of go back a further generation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I've taken away from them. Obviously, too, they're great people. Like when I was at Rashee Rice's draft party, there's a ton of people there, and he goes out of his way to be like, "Oh, Spencer, like, glad you made it." And so or even when I got the job with the college football playoff, reaching out to me and congratulating me on stuff like that. It's like, that's another part of that SMU connection where it's like, it's not just like a transactional value.
No, it's something that you really do have. How is from what you've seen, how is Kevin Jennings' prep? What does that look like? What have you seen? I mean, I think people are super interested in that, and just to see the transition, especially the switch up mid season, and then he just honed in and then rocked it out, and then went on this crazy run. So what did you see? When I first came into Kevin was, he was our third string guy. We had Tanner Mordecai and Preston Stone ahead of him. And then Kevin. And so I've kind of gotten to see him. We're both the same year too. So we've kind of gotten to, I've kind of gotten to see him grow up as I've gotten to grow up. That's kind of killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I mean, seeing the amount of confidence that he's playing with now too. And what I saw that switches him is just his confidence. I see him out at practice and he's, it seems effortless. He's just going out there, slinging the rock around.
So much more than that.
Yeah. Oh, and he's working his ass off every day, just as much as everyone else. And I mean, seeing him during workouts as a leader, great vocal leader. I mean, it's been really cool to kind of both grow up in the program at the same time. And he's in the same boat where he's seen all the people before him, and so now he's kind of, he's taking the keys and he hasn't looked back.
No, absolutely. Is there something that he does every game or kind of superstitious, or is he kind of locked in, not talking to people before the game, or is he going around yapping, hyping people up? What does that look like?
So Kevin's not the loudest guy, but he's a goofy guy. He's always, doing he's always dancing around, doing like weird TikTok dances. His TikTok is pretty funny. But like he like won't say anything, and then he'll open his mouth, and it's like the funniest thing ever. Like, or he'll just like, I'll be taking photos, and he'll just make like the weirdest face
like,
to the camera.
Like whatever. Yeah.
I have a whole full like so many photos of Kevin just doing like the goofiest things. But it's like, what other photographer in the country, what other school in the country, like is the quarterback coming up to you and making weird jokes to you?
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Just being that one.
Like, he's a great guy. I mean, I had him over at my apartment like a few weeks ago, and he was just shooting buckets on my mini hoop.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a cool guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the top 25 players in the nation, just casually,
Nick Saban loves him.
Yeah. How was that? How was the reaction with the team when Nick Saban kind of gave kudos to Kevin,
that was
kind of
funny.
gave him validity in the space?
Well, because at the beginning of the season, Nick Saban was like, Rhett Lashley doesn't know what he's doing. 2 quarterbacks is never going to work out. And then by the end of the season, he was like, Kevin Jennings is the most underrated player in the country. And I was like, okay, Coach Saban. That was really funny. I mean, because I remember we were watching that too, just in the office. We had game day on, and that's the cool thing too about being in the ACC is like, and being on the national stage is, I used to watch College Game Day and be like, oh, that's cool, but they're never going to talk about my team. And now I'm watching College Game Day, and Pat McAfee is talking about SMU, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah, and it's like I see myself like on TV. I'm like, oh look, there's me, Mom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that's been really cool, and I mean just seeing all time greats like Coach Saban, talking about our players, my buddies. It's kind of like I gotta pinch myself sometimes. I gotta realize I'm like, damn, this is the weird reality that I live in now.
What celebrity do you want to work with that maybe you haven't? Celebrity or sports, like LeBron or with the rollie on.
I mean, LeBron would be cool. I mean, I've gotten the opportunity already to shoot a lot of different NFL players.
Do you prefer football?
I do prefer football.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks ago, I was shooting a golf tournament, and it was a golf tournament with all NFL players, and I'm sitting there, and I turn around, this guy's like, oh, hi, I'm Matt. And I turn around, it's Matt Ryan. I'm like, oh, that's a cool guy.
Yeah.
And
Falcons?
right next to, Falcons Legends. And I turn next to him, and it's John Elway on the green with him.
Bro, what?
And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, so I mean, took photos for him. I grew up a Notre Dame fan, too.
Why?
And so my dad went to Notre Dame.
Just...
He's a student there. He ran track there.
Okay. Student athlete. He ran track at Notre Dame. Just something slight.
Yeah, slight.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I got to see a lot of cool NFL, like Tim Brown was there, Golden Tate was there. A lot of, big name Notre Dame alum that, I grew up watching. And even too, like guys like Josh Dobbs was there. I was like, oh, Mr. Alopecia, cool guy.
Yeah. It's like, I know you.
Yeah. So, I've gotten to take photos of some of those guys. I've done other things with, like Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen.
What casual? What you've done stuff with Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen? When?
Yeah, so they did. So Jordan Palmer, he's a big quarterback coach in the Southern California area, and he does like a big charity tournament every year. And so he puts on this tournament, and he gets a bunch of quarterbacks to be the team, the quarterback for these like 5-on-5 teams.
Gotcha. So they're like all-time quarterback.
Yeah. So I mean, you got a guy like I remember. I didn't do it this year, because I was actually shooting that golf tournament instead. But, they have guys, everyone from, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, to like Desmond Ridder, Max Duggan was there one year.
Gotcha.
And so they get all these quarterbacks that are kind of like their celebrity quarterbacks.
Sure.
Which has been really cool. Even guys too, Carson Palmer, actually, he went to my high school. And he's actually just taken over the reins as my high school's head football coach, which is kind of weird. Yeah. Weird
it's a small world.
In. Yeah. So like even in my high school too, like Clay Thompson went to my high school as well. Subtle flex.
Yeah. Slight flex.
Anyways, that's deviating off from celebrities I want to shoot for.
But then at the end of the day, you say, who's your most famous person? Who's your most famous person in your phone?
Rasheed Rice, probably.
Yeah.
Rasheed Rice or my mom.
Yeah. Two legends in their own aspect.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of. It's not like something that I go around every day being like, "Oh, I'm so cool. I have Rasheed Rice's phone number."
No.
But like, there's times where like we'll need a photo request, and I'll, instead of, going through the Chiefs PR team, I'm just like, hey, Rasheed, can you send me some photos? And he like sends me photos of him and Travis Kelce, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, no, I actually did one of my first interviews with Rasheed Rice on his pro day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like way down below, and yeah, Rasheed follows you on Instagram. That's more than enough for me. And I did like a little small NIL deal with Rasheed.
Cool.
I didn't ever paid him or anything. I think it was all product, and it was like some smoothie company. I don't even remember. But he was super cool. He met up.
Yeah,
he was just being cool. But is there anything else that you wanna tell the viewers, like what you got going on or what you're looking forward to? You got the freaking college football playoff vest on. I wish I was you. I love vests. If you know Grayson Blake loves vests.
Yeah.
I wear them all the time. I'm not wearing one right now. But if you want to tell them anything.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to be in a position that I'm at, or where you want to be, you can be there. All you got to do is put in work. I mean, it makes it sound easy, but you just got to be willing to do, what people aren't willing to do. There's going to be times where you're in the office till 3, 4 in the morning. There's going to be times where you're making a graphic or taking a photo and you're like, damn, everything I'm doing sucks. But I mean, I get people that ask me all the time. They're like, oh, how did you get so good at this? And I'd like to tell them, it's like, well, I've just made a whole bunch of mistakes. And, a big part of learning is, learning from your mistakes. You can read all the textbooks in the world. You can take all the courses in the world, but you're not going to learn until you actually just go out and do it. Like, you got to go out and, it's just like any sport. You got to go out and get the reps in. If you want to be a better photographer, you got to go out and take photos. You got to go out and, like if you want to make better graphics, you just got to start making graphics. And so my biggest advice is start.
Love it.
Just start doing it, and share. The more you share your work with others, I mean, the better you can learn from other people. Other people can give you feedback. But if you're making all this work and you're not sharing with anyone, then what's the point of making it?
Yep.
And so like that's been my two biggest things that I feel like have vaulted me to where I am now is, I've gotten a whole lot of reps. I've been very grateful to get a whole lot of reps with how young I am. And, I've been able to get myself in some great situations because of the amount of reps I put in. But then, also that and just sharing my work, and you never know who's going to see your stuff. I mean, I get opportunities like this to come on a podcast and talk about my experience, or, do different photo shoots with NFL players because people have recognized my work and said that they wanted to work with me. So, I mean, I feel like I'm just getting started, but
you are. Yeah, I mean, you're just getting started, and like I was so eager to kind of like get you on the podcast, and I was so eager to pick your brain and kind of just have this conversation, because like on a podcast, you really will not have another moment like this to talk with somebody for an hour and a half plus.
Yeah.
And I was just so interested to see how your brain worked, how you got there, and then like why you wanted to share, and all of the stories that you have with the team, because you're always in the mix with the SMU team, which is just like taking it by storm. And last thing that I have to ask you, you're saying Dallas sports. You came here for Dallas sports. Something happened here in Dallas sports with the NBA. Don't know if you watch a whole lot of basketball. It seems like I'm asking a lot of podcast guests about this because it's such a shocker.
Yep.
Well, what's up? What do you think about it? And then we can be on with our merry way.
Oh yeah. So the Luka trade was interesting. Well, that was so I found out I was out with my roommate, and we were walking over to this bar, and we saw like a whole like circle of, it's like 11 o'clock at night. It's like, okay. And there's a whole like group of these guys that are like, oh my gosh, Luka to the Lakers. And I literally turned to him. I was like, yep, this is why you don't trust Twitter. Like, don't believe everything you see on the internet. And we kind of just lauged about it. And then I was like, yeah, let me go check Twitter and see if it's real. I pull up my phone, and I was like, it was like Adam Schefter. I was like, oh.
It might be real.
I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, I'm not a Mavs fan. Fortunately and unfortunately, I don't really have a basketball team.
No.
But I mean, seeing that, I was like, that's wild.
Yeah.
And I was at a networking event too the other day where they were actually asking the lead designer for the Mavericks, about that trade. It's funny because the very first thing I thought of too, and he reaffirmed what I thought of was the amount of marketing materials that they're going to have to tear down and remake. Every single billboard with Luka's face on it, every single jersey, every single like promo that ties Luka to the Mavs, they're going to have to completely tear down and completely replace. The amount of assets and billboards and marketing materials and promotions that they had to take down in Dallas, like I don't want to, like, that's millions and millions and millions of dollars and hours and hours and hours of work for those designers. So, prayers for the Mavs design team. I wish you guys the best.
Now It's Legal Podcast with Spencer Hogan. Thank you so much for coming on. It was just so much fun.
No,
and I just
great.
can't wait to see your career just blossom. You're just getting started and you graduate, gosh, so soon.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me. I hope to be back soon.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep.